So there are some people who have tried to build a strong game out of the turtle position. My personal opinion, next to having your back taken, to me it's the next worst position to be in. So I'd personally rather be stuck under someone's side control than have them on top of turtle against me. That said, if you like, so I'm going to show you some of the things that I would do when I'm approaching trying to deal with the position, but my preference is not to end up there and to transition out of that as quick as possible, even if it means rolling back flat on my back under side control. If you're wanting to learn more in depth about the turtle position, maybe check out some of the stuff, for example, by Preet Mikkelsen. All right, now we're going to be talking about the turtle position. Okay, so I should put Lachlan down. Essentially, from the turtle, obviously the person on top is going to look to take the back or to get a choke from here. All right, and obviously we need to know how to defend that. We'll break it down into a few different kind of stages with the turtle. Okay, because again, just like every other position, when they change their positioning, you might need a different response. Okay, so the first one we're going to go from just like turtle, the person hasn't got any grips yet. So you happen to turn your back and they don't have any control whatsoever yet in terms of like seatbelt or underhooks or hooks with their legs. Okay. Then we'll work from, so this is when they're side on, and they're usually looking to, when they're side on to you here, they're often looking to either take a seatbelt, take a hook, or bring you down to your hip. Okay. Once you're down onto your hip, usually they can start working to do our normal back takes here, and look to take the back from there, or start to insert hooks from there as well. Then we will work from turtle, where they put their knees over the top. A lot of people will work from here. Okay, again, this is something a lot of the times people will do if they can't get hooked. So if Lockie was defending his positioning a little better, people will often go behind the hips here, and that way it lets me, whichever side he tries to turn, I can start trying to follow. Okay, if he goes that way, or if he goes the other way, I can start to follow and stay behind his back when he does that. So that essentially, really the person on top would rather have you down on a hip than in the turtle position itself. Okay. Then we'll work from turtle, where they've got a seat belt like this, and turtle, where they've managed to insert one hook. Okay, and how we defend these positions. All right, there's a few things we need to, so I'll just talk quickly about our posture in turtle. I kind of view it personally not as a position that I want to get to and just hang out in. Like if I end up in turtle, for me, I usually want to get out of there pretty quick. So we're going to be showing what, almost a static version of what I would try to do dynamically. Like if I happened to have my back turned, I would try to get out and do one of these transitions quite quickly before they get a chance to work their grips and get better and better controls on me. Okay, so first off, if they don't have underhooks, so if I can keep my elbows tight towards my hips here, so actually I should underhooks under my arms. Okay, I don't want Lachlan to get, and I can be fighting. Often if an underhook's coming through, actually I'll borrow Lachlan now. If my elbows are tight, if an underhook starts coming here, it's often my free hand that can peel that off. Okay, so I got like each hand kind of working to assist the other side to make sure I keep pummeling my underhooks back in. Okay, and it's actually, if you look here, like try and get your underhook through, you'll eventually get that, well, probably, you'll work that through. Okay, it actually becomes a lot harder if you lock your elbows and forearms down to the hips here. So it's almost like you can imagine like my leg comes in and reinforces pinching that even tighter. Okay, try and get that underhook now. And he's basically not going to take that underhook. Okay, so the advantage of that as well is we're also trying to stop them getting hooks. So obviously if I defend my upper body well, but I leave room for hooks with the legs, he now gets some level of control. For example, now that he's got this hook, if I was to try to roll away, he can start to follow me, particularly in this plane. Anytime I roll this plane, he would be able to follow me really well. Okay. This hook again will not stop my roll this way though. So if he didn't have an underhook on this side, I could look to escape. Okay. So what I would rather do with when I'm protecting my underhooks is also protect the back hooks, having my elbows locked in down towards my my hips, and I can be using my hands to defend anything here. So I'm going down low like this. I'm blocking any sort of underhook, fighting that. If the legs start coming in, I can use my elbows to block that too. Okay. You got to watch them getting a choke. So obviously, if your head's up, you're going to be open to the choke. It's actually going to be quite, if they don't have like a seat belt and they start going for a choke, they're really risking, because they don't have any control yet, they're risking giving up quite a lot. So only like, should they really go for that if your head's up. If your head's down and they start looking for the neck here, this should allow you to essentially roll out and recover. So protecting your neck is important, but it's rarely the primary focus, because the simple things such as defending your underhooks should make your neck quite safe as well, as long as you know when to turn. Especially in a position such as turtle, where we've got a good ability to turn, but actually for back control in general, Lachlan's going to be looking for cross control. So if he gets an underhook on one side, he's going to look to get a hook on the other side. Why? Because now this stops me rolling to the left, and this stops me rolling to the right. Having two on the same side, so like an underhook and a hook, will obviously stop me going this way, but it's not going to stop me turning and facing him by turning the other way. Okay, so we can, if you think about that principle a little bit in your turtle. For example, if I'm here, if Lachlan starts to get one hook in, or yeah, for example, if he gets the hook here, I'd be very active in particular at defending this underhook. Actually, I don't even, sometimes you want them, like sometimes you give them a chance to take the same side underhook, which obviously I couldn't turn that way, but it doesn't really matter when I'm wanting to turn this way. And he potentially, if he really takes the bait for that, he might lose the control which he really wanted, which was the far side control. Okay, so as Lockie starts to reach underneath, I can grip the wrist and pummel my own hand back underneath, so it's no longer an underhook. Another position we're going to work from is the tripod position. Okay, so if Lachlan has the back here like this, sometimes he's starting to jump on my back. Yeah, sometimes he's starting to take the back, and you get the ability to tripod. Okay, when you tripod, your aim is really to start to pull them over the top and have them fall over the top of you to escape. All right, so in terms of the tripod position and having them fall over the top of us, just understanding what keeps them attached can be really important. Okay, so that's going to be underhooks. All right, so actually let's go no underhooks first. Okay, so if we're here and he's got no grips and no hooks with his legs, if I'm able to start to work into a tripod, he's going to fall off very easy. Okay, before I even really get the full tripod going. Okay, we go again. With just a seat belt, now he has one underhook. Okay, so this is the thing that starts to keep him attached, right? And it's possible he holds on, but it's still quite often the case if you tripod that you can shake them off you here. Okay, so keep that tight, but don't use your legs at all. Okay, so I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna start to stand up and lean forward, and he's slowly sliding off. Now, with my arm, if I'm pulling back, it actually gives him support. If I put my hand down and start to straighten it, like pulling back is actually like a little handle he can use to stop himself slipping. When my hand goes here and I kind of like walk in line with that, he now has nothing to grip onto as his body starts to slide down. So usually the best grip that they might take, which obviously we want to avoid, is double underhooks. Okay, so if Lachlan was able to get two underhooks, often just if I reach up here, see I've got that kind of, my body gets wider towards the shoulders here, so he's got something to hang. If he just squeezes tight, he'll be able to hang on. So if I go into a tripod here and he holds tight, he's not going to slip off, at least not easily. Okay. In addition to that, hooks can work. Now this is where it's interesting, because normally the person wants two hooks. Hooks themselves won't necessarily hold them on the back. The best grip that Lockie can take is actually to put one hook in and one hook behind and lock his feet. Okay, so go that. Yeah, and lock your feet. Okay, now see how he's locked his feet, one hook and the other one out. Now, even if he lets go with his hands, his legs will keep him attached. Okay, see how he's just attached to my hips. He can't move any further than my hips. Right, we go back. In fact, all right. Yeah, put your hands on the mat, and now put 2 hooks in. Okay, and then take your hands off. Okay, no, don't underhook now. And you'll see he's going to start to slide his hips off the top. It's possible when they get hooked, especially if they're just like this, it'll do nothing. If they hook and actually like back heel, it can sort of hook your hips a little bit, but it's not as strong as actually the one hook in and one hook out. So if he gets control of the seatbelt, but his hips are back like this, I probably wouldn't tripod. The timing is really when he starts looking to try to get hooked, so he starts coming forward. Okay, now's the time to tripod and start trying to bring him through. Another principle, like essentially what we're going to want to do really is to face our opponent or get our shoulders down to the ground. Ideally, when I'm in turtle, I'm going to recover back to guard or throw him over the top and end up in good position. Okay, so I think it's much better to go down to your shoulder rather than your hip in general in terms of recovery, but you really want to have good positioning to do that. But what I mean by that is generally if I'm going to try and roll to recover my guard, if it's to face Lockie, it's going to be like this. See, it's like my shoulder going down, not my hip. Okay, if it's just your hip and you're up on your elbow, you're going to leave an underhook for them to take. Okay, as I said earlier, we really don't want to give the person an underhook, so it's going to be better to kind of fall dropping and killing that underhook so my shoulder's going down. Okay. Similarly, we can actually roll to face the other way. My shoulder will go, and then my hips will come through second. Okay, that's actually the more common one, is to turn away so that your feet will come back in front. All right, so generally, we're now going to work into the positions, the specific positions. So the first one, Lachlan's side on to me here, okay? And he doesn't have any grips yet. I would particularly focus on not giving the far side underhook. Usually, if he wants to get seatbelt, he's going to take the far side underhook and the near side grip around the head, okay? If he tried to do the other way, you can see he gives me a big gap to start to move my hips into. It's a very loose seatbelt to take, okay? So usually it's particularly the far side grip that they're gonna wanna get. So I'd keep that tight, and I can then be starting to work my hand to try to block and intercept this hand, okay? You're basically waiting for the hand anyway. So if Lockie starts coming in and I can get a good grip 2-on-1 on that hand, this is good as well. So now I've got control of that near arm and I've blocked the far underhook. Okay, so from here, let's just go back to the first one. If you get a chance to block this arm, you're going to put this foot on the outside of the hip. There is no way he's taking my back now. Okay, see this leg coming around? There's no way he can step around to face my back, and he can't connect his hands. Okay, so from here, it should be nice and easy to just shoot your hips back in and face. Okay, again. So here, do I see the chance to block this hand tracking from the wrist up towards the elbow and take my foot up towards the hip? I can now just face in and shoot my leg through. Okay. You also have the option to roll the other way. Okay, I can also roll over my left shoulder, like so, and swing my leg away in what we call like a gongoa style action, which will also recover my legs. So I talked about at the start, if I can block this far arm, I can actually do the turn away roll at any point, as long as I feel like he doesn't have this far underhook grip. Okay, so I would want to clear that first, but if I can block this, that means my hips can free. Okay, so see how he doesn't have this hand? I roll over my left shoulder, I free my hips past that arm, and I swing this leg wide, and I'll get back to guard. Okay, what you don't want is for him to like get a good grip around the hip or an underhook, and I roll here, and then he stays attached to me onto my back. Okay, so I only do that roll away. We can do it without, as I said, without any other grips in play, but I need to make sure my hip's going to be clear, pushing off the ground clearing that arm out.
Now we'll have a look at a few examples of me using this rolling to guard escapes, where I roll over my near shoulder, the one that's closest to my opponent. Alright, so we're doing situational training from Turtle here, and I will be rolling over my right shoulder back to guard. So this is before Matt actually had any really good grips, no underhooks or seat belt or anything like that, and I was able to roll. Okay, this time he's obviously a little more aware. He pulls me down to my hip. You'll see even here I'm trying to block his far arm from becoming the underhook, so I'm keeping tight with that, and as he reached for it I managed to escape back to my back. We're going to have another go at it again. It is actually very hard. If someone's already got their like underhooks hidden from Turtle, it's actually a very hard thing for the person on top to catch that. You see I did that same roll, but he kind of followed my back and I couldn't roll back to guard, so I ended up facing him again in front headlock in that scenario. The next one will be with Seimin. And Seimin has Turtle. I have no idea if I'm saying his name right. And you'll see, again, I've gone over my right shoulder. He's done well to stop my leg getting in front of him, so there's a possibility I end up under side control here, but I'm already framing and beginning to recover. So obviously if you get the guard retention instructional as well as this, then not only are you going to be able to get out of bad spots, but you're going to recover back into great spots.
Alright, this time, now Lachlan's trying to get into to get his grips, okay? So he's trying to feed through towards the seatbelt, and I managed to connect two hands to the one wrist here, okay? If I can from here, what I'll do is I'll start to retract my head. So I kind of like, if I'm in this turtle, I'll sit back on my heels and try and bring my head to the inside of the arm, okay? And then quite quickly when your head goes inside, bring it through too deep and grip the elbow and pull it tight, okay? So essentially once I've got this, try and turn around to my back and take a seatbelt. You can't take a seatbelt because I've trapped his arm on this side. Okay? It's going to be very hard to take the back. Anywhere he goes, as he walks around towards the back, you see he's sort of falling off the side. He's not chest in the middle of the back like he would want when this arm's around my neck. Okay? So again, if you get a chance to, when we're defending here, grip the arm, move your head back. So it's really, now let me show the leg movement. So here, knee will open a little wide, and we kind of pivot on our knees as we retract our head back and then come forward. Okay. So again, I get hold of this, knee comes, or my knee will move out a little bit, I sit back on my heels, pull my head inside, and I grip that elbow. Okay. Once we're here, we're in the front headlock position. We're going to go through in the front headlock section how to escape from this position and turn that into a more neutral position. But for now, this is much better than being stuck in as long as he's not like choking me, which I'm holding his arm to stop that, then it's a much better position than him being in turtle. There is one other option which you can go for from just when they're side on in turtle. It's not it's weird, I use this, but I do feel like against someone good, I'm very hesitant to use it. In fact, I often won't, because there's a good chance if they follow you, they're going to take you back. Okay, so and that's if Lachlan reaches around my hip,
to grip the arm and to basically like jam that arm too deep, roll to the side, and use that to try to roll on top. Okay, now if you're gonna do this, make sure like pull the arm deep so like when you move, they move. You gotta take up all the slack. So I want to be like locking that in tight. So yeah, like when I move now, he moves with me. It can't be just like here. Okay, now I move and he stays where he is. So if I grip like that, he just stays where he is, and then he'll get ready to jump and follow. Okay, I want it to be like wrapped around here. Okay, and the other thing, so this will not work if he can jump his hips around. In fact, I'll give him my back if he jumps his hips and lands underneath my hips, and he takes my back. Okay. Where it will work, or like what will help save me from that, is if I can lift this leg up. Okay. Now, as he goes to jump, it's hard to get past the line of my leg. So he's trying to take my back here and goes to jump. We're going to roll through, okay, with my arm over the top. So again, this is one option. If they're side on, we start to drop, fall, and you do this nice and fast as they reach for their far side hook. But I wouldn't make this your main move. When is it a good time to tripod? Okay, I don't tend to tripod just if Lockie's standing behind my back. I tend not to come up into a tripod here because you tend to give gaps for them to start getting the hooks and seatbelt. Okay, so usually I will tripod if he's already got the seatbelt and he's quite high. Okay, or if he's got basically when he starts putting his chest quite high up on my back. So for example, with a seatbelt, he kind of almost by definition, because this arm is over the top of my shoulder, he has to be high. This can be a good time to start to tripod up, all right? Because now, if he starts trying to climb onto my back, jump over. Yeah. There's a good chance that happens and he falls off. Okay. So once you're in the tripod, you're then looking to, you're here. If you're trying to jump on my back, I'm trying to block and prevent hooks from occurring. Okay. And then usually, there's a certain point as he's balancing, you want to grip the head. Okay, so if one hand can grip the head, I start pulling him through. I end up on top of north-south actually when we get out of that. Okay, so let's look at that once more. Do it more correctly. Okay, so yeah, we're here. I want to be trying to block hooks. Even if he's got one hook, you can be working like pulling on the top arm to try to pull him a little further through and start reaching to the head. Okay. Once we're here, allowing him to fall off the back, okay? So essentially, if you can deny him from locking his feet together in this position, so even just two hooks, they might be able to have him falling forward. If he can lock his feet, one hook in, one hook behind, that's when it's going to be very difficult to defeat his attempt to take the back. If Lockie pinches over my hips and hovers here, what you don't want to do is like fall to the side, because you're gonna have excellent positioning on your back when you do that. Okay, so I'll often actually try to, keeping my arms tight, try to block and push one leg off, and then start moving out to the side. Okay, so watch this. If he's floating on the hips here, I can start to block this leg, clear it, and I start bringing my feet. It might be hard to see from there. Puts his hips on the legs floating on my hips. If I can block, I start putting my feet to the outside. Okay, see how both feet are on the outside of the legs now? Now if I go to this shoulder roll again, like we did earlier, my legs end up back in front. Okay, you can't do that while your feet are on the inside of the legs. Okay, my legs are here. I try and do that roll. You're gonna stay on my back really well. Okay. So again, here, keep your elbows tight, start pushing, put both feet, kind of a little windshield wiper action out to the side, and then I can start to lift my hips. Now hips are in front of him here, so when I bump, it's going to keep him away, and I can roll my feet back. So if Lockie gets one hook, and he hasn't got upper body control yet, then we want to avoid him getting cross body control. Okay, so he gets a hook in here, and I've still got my arms tight. The best thing I can do is hide
I don't want him to get this underhook. Okay, so what I want to do is hide that shoulder the best I can. So I'm going to roll to my side and drop my left hip to the mat as well. So actually, sorry, it could be this hook, that's right, this underhook, or potentially even the second hook with the leg would also make it hard for me to out-roll it. Okay, so if he gets this one hook, if I roll and drop my hip underneath as well, now it's very hard for him to take this side of the body. Okay, from here, let's turn a little bit. So you end up here like this. Now, if he's trying to chase my back, I just keep bringing my right elbow down to the other side of the hip. Okay, once this is here, there's no way he gets my back. I try to get my legs in front. Okay, so again, if he gets this hook, I'm going to take my shoulder down and drop my hip underneath as well, and then start working to get my right elbow back to the other side of the hip where I can get my legs in front. If Lachlan gets the double underhooks, then we've got a few options to escape from here. One is to try to get my shoulders to the mat, because he doesn't have the seatbelt, which stops my, remember when we're back on the ground here? If he has the seatbelt, that stops my shoulders lifting. So this top arm stops my shoulders going too high. If he had double underhooks, then I could start trying to bring my shoulders up. Okay, so if we're here and he goes double underhooks, I can start trying to get my shoulders, and which even if he chases my back here and follows, go, take it back, I can start trying to walk up too high. Okay, if I keep his arms from climbing up to, if I keep hold of his wrists and he can't take one arm above my shoulder line like he wants to here, okay, if I keep blocking that, then he's never going to be able to pull me back down as I keep walking my shoulders along the mat. And now it's too high, I can start to turn into facing. Alright, so again, double underhooks. If I start turning my back, starting to, essentially if he doesn't move, that's fine, because he's just sort of sitting there, so I can just roll out. But if he's actually trying to take my back, he goes double underhooks, I hold the wrists, he goes to take my back, I start walking my shoulders along the mat, pushing off the mat with my feet, and now I'm essentially out of the back already. Alright, another option, if they go double underhooks, is actually to stand up, because it becomes hard for him to climb and follow me going too high, essentially. So if I'm here, he gets the double underhooks, if I can start to block the wrist, even just one wrist, right? If he starts reaching one hand towards the seatbelt and I've blocked one wrist, he can't connect his hands. And I can start using that to separate. As soon as his hands are separated, it's not a strong link, okay? So we're here, one, like secure with both to push down, and then one hand controls. You can even support on your own leg to get up if you need, and standing up here, okay? Once I'm up, at any point, if he lets go to try to go high, then I'm out, okay? Once we have two hands, change them both to the one wrist, to the one that's on, usually to the one that's on top. Step one leg forward, arch your back, and then keep your hands locked. I want to get my elbow straight, okay? Now I can drop my weight through that arm and open out my hip against that grip. Okay, this can be very hard for them to hold on to. Okay, you can even, if you get to the point where that's not working, so keep hold, you can even start to reach towards the fingers, peel them back, and then start to strip the grip from there. Okay, obviously you don't grab one finger in jiu-jitsu, you just grip the whole arm, but we can go like, here, like maximum tension. If that's not working, you can start to reach over, start to peel the hands off, and then once you strip, you keep them disconnected, hips away, so he can't hold my hip as I turn my hips back to facing. All right, so linking the techniques from the turtle position, right? So if Lockie is side on to me here, and he doesn't have any grips, then as he starts, or if he doesn't reach, that's fine as well. But if he can intercept this outside arm, that's great, and we can block it. We can put our foot to the outside of the hip, then we can start to roll inwards towards him, the easy way, or the actual more common way, which is what you use even if you can't get your legs in, but ideally this leg still is in, which is to start to roll over our right shoulder and swing our legs back. Okay, that one you can definitely do without grips too. So as if I'm here, Lachlan's looking to fight for grips, I take my head away, shoulder down, push my hips up in the air, and roll my hips through. If now he manages to, actually, I mean, we're always pummeling to not let him get the underhook, particularly the far underhook. So if we're back here, anytime he starts getting that, I want to be blocking and trying to put my elbow back on the inside, and my positioning is with my elbows tight to my hips. My head can be on the ground, that's fine. My knees relatively wide so that, not too narrow, so you can be topped over too easy. Okay. If Lockie does manage to get the seatbelt here, from here, I'm going to grip the choking arm, post on the mat, move backwards, and circle away with my hips like so, tripoding up. Okay. If he doesn't follow, I should now be able to peel that hand off and start to escape. And if he tried to do the roll through, he should slip out there. Okay. If he goes to, or he doesn't have hooks and goes 2 legs on the back, we can start blocking and putting our feet to the side. Now we can start doing our same roll through that we did before. If he has one hook, like so, but no upper body control, we can start to hide our opposite side underhook, turning in and then dropping our hip in as well, so we can't get that hook there. Okay. Once I'm there, trying to get my elbow across the hip and trying to bring my legs back in front. And lastly, if Lockie gets the 2 underhooks, okay, here wouldn't be a good idea to tripod like it might have been with the seatbelt before. From here, I can either start to roll through my shoulders again, and then as he tries to follow, blocking the hands so he can't climb up above my shoulder, and shoulder walking to get my shoulders too high. The other option might be to stand up. Okay, so if I'm here, I can grab the wrists, or at least one wrist nice and tight, posture back, stand up, pressure one hip forward. We can strip with 2 hands on the one, or if he keeps his grip nice and tight, we can start to peel the fingers back, go back to two grips, and then from here with your hips forward, turn back to face.